All right. Yeah, I said it's very close to my heart because this topic is now with me for 2 years already. So that's why before I wasn't talking about it, but now I'm talking about it like almost every day. So it's parenthood, apparently. We're talking about parenthood and how to balance it with career in the fast moving, often unpredictable world of games, whether it's deadlines, late night launches, or even creative crunch. Working parents in this industry face, let's say, unique challenges. Yeah, so how do we raise kids, push pixels, ship code? Luckily, we have three amazing people here on stage who, yeah, know firsthand how to balance these topics. I want to introduce them to you. So to my left, I have Miles Tost, a level design lead at CD Projekt Red, father. And I don't know, did you take parental leave? Oh, is the microphone on? Pierre, we need to hear him.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, I was out for 2 months.
All right, okay, so you took parental leave. And then next to him is Elisabeth Secker, Managing Director at USK, expert in youth media protection, and someone who once Googled Managing Director on parental leave and found absolutely nothing. Wow, that says a lot. And also with us, Sena Tabak, a software developer at InnoGames, AI enthusiast, puzzle creator, and mom of two. She juggles front-end development and front-end bedtime routines. Wow, a little applause, please. Yes. This is not only interesting for parents, but maybe for those who just want to have an idea of how it is to work in the games industry as a parent. Okay, so before we dive in, I'd like to know from which perspective you are coming, which perspective you are bringing to the table. So I want to start with a quick round. What's your family model look like? And I can start if you want to. So I'm a mom of a 2-year-old son, and I'm married to his father. We're aiming for a 50-50 balance, 50-50 parental leave. We did that, 50-50 daycare. And for us as full-time freelancers, this works pretty well, to be honest. But how about you guys? Maybe we start with you, Sena.
Okay, hello.
Hi.
Yeah, it's working. Hi, so I have two kids.
Yeah.
One of them is 3 years old, other one is 8, close to turning 9 years old. And yeah, I'm married to the father of the kids. And we were also struggling to get a 50-50 balance, but it's not happening. And I think it's not a unique experience. But yeah, I'm in the industry since more than 10 years, and I became a mom 8 years ago. So I know how it was before becoming a mom, working in techs. Already a challenging prospect, I would say. Once you're a parent, of course, you have many unique challenges.
Yes,
as well.
true. How about you, Elisabeth?
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to be on this panel. And actually, my role is on two parts. I mean, first of all, like as a managing director, I'm also responsible for working conditions in my own institutions that are like combinable with parentship. And on the other hand, I'm a mother of two children. My children are 2 years old and 5 years old, and I share the responsibilities also with my husband. We split our parental leave like half and half. So and now he's working a little bit less than I am.
Nice. How about you, Miles?
I noticed that I'm definitely the junior in this circle. So I am the father of a beautiful 1-year-old son. He just turned one literally like 2
happy
weeks ago.
birthday.
Between me and my wife, well, she's basically the one taking all the parental leave, but I try to be in that process as someone who works from home. You know, I try to be as involved as I can be, and it's pretty hard to say how we're trying to split it at this point in time, because we're still fighting for survival, essentially.
All right. Okay. Okay. I just wanted, well, there's always a before and an after, right? Can we agree on that? So what was the moment for you guys when you realized, okay, I have to reorganize my work here because I'm a parent now? You're laughing, Miles. When was the moment when she got got pregnant?
Yeah, I guess for me it's also fresh. Maybe I guess
Yeah.
like we both had I guess relatively naive in hindsight, which I guess is not too abnormal. Views on how this all is going to play out. Of course, we primed ourselves for the worst in terms of, okay, we're going to lose control over our own time. We will be completely subject to our baby's will and needs. But in practice, it's even worse, I found. And especially these first few months were absolutely insane. Me and my wife, we often have conversations about, like, I feel like our friends who already went through this, even our parents, they cheated us on this. They all said, yeah, it's going to be bad, but no one told us it's going to be this bad, right? Like, and I have the impression that a lot of people kind of tend to forget as time goes on. Part of that probably being, I know, exactly. But you do manage in the end, so.
When was the moment? I mean, you're 5 years in the game now already, Elisabeth, but when was the moment for you when you realized, okay, now I have to adjust a lot of things?
I think, as you, Mice, already said, it's like the good thing is that you forget the really, really hard part at the beginning. So that's very good, and it gets easier at a time. But yes, actually, I mean, I was in a very tough role as well, and I, as you already make my introduction, I googled managing director on parental leave when I was pregnant. I was, okay, how will I manage that? And that's what was actually the moment where I noticed that I have to take responsibility on my own to manage that and to find a path and a way how to do it.
And what did that moment tell you about, yeah, this specific role?
It told me actually it's absolutely not normal to be in that position. I mean, first of all, when we look at the statistics in Germany, we see that only every third woman or female is in a leading position. So that's a small part. And when you look about female leaders that are mothers and work full time, then the percentage is even lower. And as you already said, I mean, we also noticed that most of the caregiving responsibility is still very traditionally like shared. I mean, in kind of every woman makes this 1 year or 12 months or 14 months together, and to 2 months we go and travel with my partner. And no offense, but that's normal in Germany. And we also see from the statistics that only 8%, 8 to 10% of men take more than this 2 months. So, and that in the first made me think, okay, is it okay to do it like different? And is there any role model out there where I can look at? And is there anything? And sadly, there wasn't. So that was actually the moment when I realized I have to sort out a way how to do it. And I did that with my shareholder. We did creative thinking, how to manage that. And in the end, it worked out very well. And I can just say I stepped a path, and maybe today is the moment to share that experience.
And you're the role model now, then? Yeah, yes. Let's say it like that. Sena, when was for you the moment when you realized, okay, I need to reorganize my work now?
Not to scare anybody, but what if I tell you I realize it every day? The needs of a child changes drastically every few months, if not every year. And you need to realize this, and you need to adjust things differently whenever this happens. Or, for me, practically every day.
But also, I just see Miles' eyes being like, "Oh wow, no, it's not getting better." But I feel like
I don't think so. No.
no. I just wanted to say to you, from my perspective, when we hit this 1 year mark, I felt like it got better. Don't you think so?
Oh yeah, like definitely the extremely bad days are getting less and less.
Yes.
And I noticed that, and this is basically like all three of us discovering that the times where it's genuinely fun and nice, they're becoming more frequent, right? Like it's a bit like as this kid is coming online and is actually able to process the world around it and discover it, a lot of chaotic things happen. But it's also wonderful. Like that's genuinely the great part. He now started walking.
Nice.
And
Congrats.
it's absolute chaos. It's mayhem, but it's fun.
Yeah. And,
Until he starts climbing.
oh yeah, climbing. Oh yeah, that's a topic for us also. And also, it gets easier when communication adds on.
Yeah.
Yeah. During that phase where you guys realized, I mean, for you every day, I need to reorganize it. But within your work, what did you need most from your employer or your colleagues, and did you receive that?
Yeah, as I already said, I had to build a structure. And the first thing I did, what's also actually not so really often in the industry, is to have a deputy that can overtake my tasks during my absence. And I was very, very happy to have that person in my team who can cover that for me. And I also experienced a very supportive shareholder, I have to say. And we did a model like I was out of work like totally 2 months after birth, and then I took over in a small hour model some tasks like budget, finance, things like that. And all the other stuff I could like organize with my deputy. We had like calls during that time, very on a regular basis. And I also took my baby with me when I had some calls with him and so on. And we kept each other like very close in terms of what's going next, what's the strategy and so on. But he covered for me that time. So I experienced that. Yeah, that you just have to try it out, to be said. And I mean, I also experienced like voices in my surrounding, like what she's doing more than 3 months, like parental leave in her position. Is she serious? Can she does that? But I also heard voices like, what she's doing 8 months, like full out. How can she does that? And I mean, what kind of a bad mother she is, not to be with her child, because it's also not the normal. So my advice would just be like, try it out. Don't be shy. Just try out a model and just jump.
Yeah. Miles, what did your colleagues say when you said, okay, I take 2 months, I'm out?
Yeah, that was a bit interesting because like I was kind of pushed into it. So from the very beginning, as I said, we had kind of naive views on the whole thing, and I was at home office, and we knew that from the beginning. So I thought, you know what, like I'll just be here anyway, so I can help. And little did I know. So my much wiser boss actually went, no, Miles, look, you'll want to take more than just a month. Take at least 2. But if you need any more time, just let me know, right? We'll figure this out. This is fine. Luckily, by that point in time, I also had already, I have a relatively large team for a single discipline. We're now 15 people. And the good side of that is that as a result of that, I had already divided the team with, different sub-leads just to help me run it. And these 3 were basically becoming active around like 2 months before my parental leave. So it was actually a really good time to also go, hey guys, here's a test for you. So I had basically my boss and 3 guys capable to basically split my responsibilities between them during that time, which was great for me because I could accept that time off, also knowing, like as a control freak and a designer, that hey, my stuff is in really good hands. I don't need to worry. And lastly, what also helped is just knowing that, I have a really good foundation of trust with the people I work with. So we had the line open. If anything was needed, they could just simply contact me. And I think there were like 2 instances where they did briefly. And aside from that, they just left me alone.
All right. So, and then at the end, did you wish to take more time?
Difficult. Because on one hand, the project really required my help. So I was dragged in really quickly. I think, the offer of taking more time definitely was there and I could have taken it. But at that point in time, I was also like, man, I can't leave my guys hanging, right? You have this sort of, connection to your team and to the project. And I think what really was cool though is that I get to work with a team that's really, really open to this. We have a lot of parents in the company. The studio is also super, pro parents. We have like parenting Slack channels. There's regular check-ins from HR and all that stuff to help with, parenting situations. We have like a, family day in the company every year or so. And they are really happy to see my son in meetings, essentially. So, living in a relatively small space currently, it's kind of nice to be able to just, help my wife by saying, "Hey, look, this next hour of meetings is relatively chill. I just need to listen and input once in a while. I can take him, right, and you can go rest for a bit."
Mm-hmm. Sena, how is it with you? Do you feel support from your colleagues? And also, as a mother of 2, how does a typical day look like for you? Is there such thing?
Yeah, there is definitely some kind of structure by now. If as a parent you don't build these structures, like Elisabeth also mentioned, I think it's chaos and it's never-ending chaos. So parenting experts usually say kids need a lot of routine, right? And as parents, we are responsible of providing that. But this is not just helping kids, they are helping us as well. So what is the routine? I'm lucky at this point that my younger daughter is 3 years old and she turned 3 yesterday, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. So she is at a kita already and she is old enough to be staying there for all the time that I need to do my work. And I can essentially drop my kids at the same time and pick them up at the same time. This is making things much easier for me. Before this was the case, I was worried about the younger one being in the kita too long. I would try to pick her up earlier, and then you are in this situation, you are around in the street and you gotta wait for the older one to be done. So this kind of things, of course, makes it harder. Regarding the support you get from the colleagues, absolutely. Without the support, this is just way too difficult to achieve. We have some benefits similar to what Miles also mentioned. In the company there are a lot of parents, so you can always share experiences, tips, tricks. When there is something extraordinary, there are people you can turn to and ask for advice. Besides that, there is a company event where parents can bring their kids, their spouses. This is highly valuable. Just to have that opportunity, it is almost like a, what is the word? Panayır, I want to say. It is a fun event for the whole family, and
Nice. Elisabeth, what kind of structural changes do you think are needed more to make leadership and parenthood more compatible in the games and media industry?
I mean, first of all, I was really surprised about the legal framework in Germany when I had my first child, because it was even like legally not possible to take a break from a managing director role when you're like, because you're still liable for the company. And then because of two very famous women who also like founded companies in the startup industry, they said that's ridiculous. Why is it not possible? I mean, beside like care for children, you also have maybe caregiving responsibilities with elder people or your whatever in your surrounding. So it was even legally not possible. And this changed in 2021 because of the encouragement of these women. And that was the first step. But I was really like shocked that it's even not possible, because and the reason for that is actually because I think it's the reason is because in the structure, like, female leaders do not really exist, and like this kind of models do not really exist. So also the perspective like that something like this is needed maybe does not exist. And I think from that standpoint, we really have a long way to go to make that just normal. And my perspective is that parental responsibilities should be seen as normal, that we include men, that it's not only like how does a woman manage that. It should be how does parents manage that. And my husband, for example, received the answer when he said to his company he wants to take, I think 1 year he took the parental leave, so more than I did, and they were shocked. They said, how can you do that? And I mean, you recently got a new position, we can't understand. And that shouldn't be the reality in Germany. So we have a long way to go to change this. And a few examples, how can you change this? I think for families, it's really important to have flexible working hours, that you are kind of not have strict working hours and be not flexible, or you have a rule in your company, no meetings after 4 or something like that, that you really try to encourage your employees to also to have this family time, but also to shift it within over the whole day. And I think with this small rules, you can also change. But I have a lot of more examples, but I want to let the others.
And I also think what I want to add to this point is, if one thing that is possible that came out of the lockdown and pandemic time is working from home, right? So because parenthood is not always about taking care of the kid, but all this other stuff that's in the house and the apartment that you need to do. And I found it really cool to have more opportunities to work from home. So in between 2 meetings, I can wash a machine, but still, I think communication is also the key to it. Talk more about it. So also for you, this question, Elisabeth, in your experience, how openly is parenthood even, or caregiving even, discussed in the boards and institutions you're involved in? Are people talking about it?
My experience, I mean, it becomes a little bit more, but it's still very little, because most of the women are like, okay, I'm a mother, but I don't really want to talk about it, because then I'm like the others see me as weak. So that's also something, when a woman achieves that kind of position, she doesn't want to share that. And I also experienced that people came to me on an evening event in the games industry and asked me, "Oh, what are your children doing tonight?" And I was just, hey, Have you already asked like another managing director in the industry who has like children at the same age, exactly the same age like I have? Have you asked him as well? Like, why? So I think there's still a lot to do, and also to really have the mindset that it's a shared responsibility, and of course everybody should have the choice how to manage it in the family. But like from the mindset, it's still very the female task, and that's not really discussed, I would say.
Yeah. I have to be honest to you guys. When I found out I was pregnant, the only worry I had, because I'm a really passionate gamer, was, do I still have time to play games, to play video games? I wasn't really worried about how my work life would look like, because I kind of had the trust, I would say, that everything, it just goes. I have a strong partner with me who wants to do this in the most feminist way we can do. But my only worry was, will there be still sessions with my friends where I can play video games? And approaching to you, Miles, has becoming a parent changed how you approach also game design or storytelling? Because these were also things I was thinking about. What kind of games do I play now?
I think, if anything, it really helped me prioritize better. Like, I think as a lead, I've gotten much better as a result of being a parent. Like, at this point, I feel it's apt to kind of say that postpartum depression is a topic in our family. Mm-hmm. So the amount of support I need to provide is also like, if I want to help my wife, right? Like, and I need to make sure that she is not drowned away by the difficulties of postpartum depression, and that requires me to be much more hands-on than I think from my purely professional point of view, I would like, right? Obviously, my priority is my family, but it's something that I think also really weighs difficult on her, because like the expectation that she set out for this time was like, hey, I'm going to do the paternity leave for the extended period of time so that you can focus on the job and do the things you must, so we have money in the family and all of that, right? And at the same time, as a father, I really want to be involved in the parenting effort, right? And knowing, though, how difficult it is for her, it really paints the entire picture of home office life in a much more drastic way, right? Because basically, the one everyday picture, at least in the in the more difficult times, let's say in the first 6 months, was literally just me sitting, trying to focus on my work, and in the background, just hearing the kid freak the fuck out, right? And like my wife struggling to, sometimes, right? Babies, they sometimes they just scream, right? Like, it's just they don't know how to communicate. So, and it's not something that you can just go and off. And you just kind of have to live with sort of this ambivalence of sort of like, hey, what do I focus now, right? And I thankfully have like a workspace, flexible working hours and all of that stuff that allows me to kind of say, hey, you know what? I need to take a break right now for an hour and I'll come back, but I need to help now. Yeah, like, sorry, I just kind of drifted away from the question because it's something that really's been sort of on my mind. And I think what's been so special for me as a guy also to learn is like, not only is pregnancy really, really fucking hard for women, right? But also that juggling it all, and it sort of like, it doesn't just end with the child being born and, you going through the first year or so, but it's like a constant wave of challenges that require you to grow so quickly. And to get back to the original question, this kind of environment, right? Like I keep telling my colleagues, like, I don't think I've ever felt myself grow so much in such a short period of time, right? Because you kind of need to develop patience, you need to develop resilience, right? And you need to become better at time managing and cutting bullshit and focusing on the things that are important, right? And greatly enough, for me, this also helps me be a better lead in the things that I do. And I think there are some benefits at the end of the day, aside from having an awesome kid and a great family, to have gone through that kind of hardship.
Yeah. And also sometimes we need little helpers. I also use AI to to help me answer questions. We're right now in a phase where my son doesn't want to get changed. He hates it if I present him this T-shirt. I say this or that. He says this, then he cries, and then I just ask ChatGPT, what should I do? What now? And that also saves a lot of time for researching stuff like that. And I know that you, Sena, are also AI enthusiasts, so you're exploring the AI in your workflow. Has it helped you also to save time or to reduce stress?
I use it to. I can't say at the moment. Yeah, I think I can. The answer would be yes, because, like I also mentioned earlier, the needs of the kid, needs of the family changes drastically from time to time, and you don't always have the time to do a big research, consult to experts, get opinions, and make a plan about how to go about things. So in this sense, using an LLM, asking questions about your really specific issue really do help. Besides that, employing these tools in your work life, and if you're able to automate some things or reduce some of your workload, of course that's great. It doesn't mean that you will be working less because now you suddenly have more time. Okay, you will be doing something else on the side, but yeah, it is making possible for growth, basically. So you can learn different things. You can focus on other areas of your life, make optimizations where it needs to, where it is required, I would say.
Are you guys also using AI when it comes to parenthood?
Yeah, if only as a sanity check. Sometimes, like, is this normal? It's like,
Is this
yes,
normal?
it's normal. It's a thing. It'll go away.
How about you, Elisabeth?
Actually, I can recommend podcasts during like the sleeping company phase, like lying next to a child like 1 hour can be very exhausting. So podcasts are my kind of hack to get over this time. But yes, of course, I mean, I'm more relaxed actually and more confident with my second child because I have gone through all these phases, and it's like kind of, yeah, it's just a phase. Tomorrow it will be different, and in 3 weeks it will be different, and then he wants the diapers to get changed again. So, yeah, we get over it.
And are you also in that stage where your 5-year-old also is a little helper now?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, for us, this age gap between the both children was like, yeah, a good decision. I couldn't have done like two years or so. That wouldn't be possible.
Miles, maybe that's a good advice for the two of us.
Yeah. Like, I definitely look at parents that have twins and all that very differently now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's been 2 instances in my life that have kind of shaped my perspective on things that I had before dramatically, which is first getting a tattoo. Like, after that, you look at tattooed people very differently. And second, like, the pain threshold, Jesus. And having one kid has definitely shaped my perspective on, solo parents. I think these people are people from another realm. Like, I cannot imagine how it's possible.
Yes.
And people who have more than one child in rapid succession, twins, triplings, and everything beyond that. Just sheer thought of having 2 children that tick at a very different sort of rate, wake up differently at night and all that stuff is just nightmare fuel to me, especially if you consider that you have people trying to also build a career, right?
Yeah. Elisabeth, are there things that you organize or prioritize differently today, professionally or personally, compared to before you became a parent?
I mean, I learned definitely to be much more focused on really what's important right now. And I also have a rule by myself. Like when I'm at work, I'm 150% at work. And when I'm at home with my children, I want to focus 150% on them. So what I've at the moment, I've no free time. So that's my kind of price to pay. And I know that's maybe in a few years it gets better that I do something for myself, but that's just something kind of kicked off my schedule at the moment because they both are so small. But this to be 100% focused is something my children taught me, like to watch at an insect and be very excited is like something I couldn't do before because I'm like always like running, and then to have this silence just to stare at an ant and to say, wow, yeah, that's nature, great. It has really also kind of very, very great benefits to be focused.
At free time, that you're saying that it's very funny, because there was a time, especially in the first year, where work felt like free time. Can you somehow relate?
Definitely, sometimes.
Oh yeah, like just having this moment of any hour I can work uninterruptedly. It's just a blessing, and we're moving soon, thankfully, into a larger space where I will once again have an office and all that. Like, for family reasons, we have my brother-in-law also living with us, occupying one space. So it's been pretty tricky. But soon we will fix that, and it will probably be a game changer for all of us.
Sena, if you could give one honest advice to young mothers who work in tech, what would it be?
Well, I think what I want to give as a message would be to build some kind of community for yourself. There are a lot of support options out there, but it may not be accessible because you just don't know about it. But a quick Google search or talking to your neighbors, your colleagues, if you have the chance to, can open many doors. For me, the biggest challenge since I became a mom was to find out what is possible, because I haven't grown up in Germany. I don't know the system so well. So for me, it was just, I learned it on the way, so to say. Even before they become mothers, I would advise to search and find out what is accessible. It could be regarding support to become a parent, or it could be something about communication. It was mentioned earlier in another panel, non-violent communication, for example. I'm seeing this from my own experience. With kids, you need to you communicate in a different frequency, and you can't just expect to. You can't be solution oriented, I would say. Like Elisabeth mentioned, I think with kids you just need to learn to live the moment, and and this I think ties to being mindful and finding some peace within yourself as well, so you can enjoy becoming a parent as well.
Yeah, and I was also surprised when I found out about all the workshops, and there are also places where you can go and get free information on every single question that you have, whether it's parental leave, how to structure it, how to organize it. I mean, just the form. I don't understand it. What's Elterngeld Plus? What's Basis Elterngeld, and how do we split it? And there are there are free workshops and people who could help you out. So just research for it, and you will always get help. Sometimes it's not too easy to find it, but we also have AI for that. Miles, what would you say to other dads who in the industry who are still unsure about taking parental leave?
Oh, that's so difficult. Because like in my situation, the salary gap, right, was just so high that it made no financial sense for me to take any longer time, because I think it caps at 60% of salary, and we would have had much less money. So we're kind of, like it pains me to say, but we're kind of forced by the system into the position that we were in, but we made do with it. And so for fellow dads, really, fellas, help your wives, man. Like, honestly, I work in what I would call one of the most ambitious game companies in the world. I have a huge team, and we're trying to make the next title following Witcher's success. And I still think my wife has it tougher than I do, taking care of the little one 8 hours a day until I can basically free myself and help out. And honestly, having also tried it on my own, like, hey, today is a day off, I can take the kid. I think, basically childcare is does not compare to any of the worst crunch that I've done, right? It's just completely different ballgame. And I really, really think that it's only a battle that can really be done well if you're a team and you work together.
And also, just about the wording, because when it's just one little tiny thing, but words are very powerful. I have a problem with saying help your wives, because it's not helping them, it's your responsibility.
I think that's very fair. Yes,
yeah.
Yes, that is absolutely true. I also feel that the one thing that is kind of like easily you fall prey to is feeling that just because I do the work means that I'm already supporting, but it's not the case.
Yeah. I see you.
Yeah, and I think it's also a decision, because I mean every family has the discussion about how do we manage the time with parental leave, but like with financial losses or whatever. I saved money before my parental leave to manage that as a family, and I mean it's also like it should be possible. I mean that we still have this cap in Germany with the parental leave money, I would say. I mean, that didn't change since, I think, almost like 15 years. It's the same amount of money. So why doesn't politics change that? That's like, that's not reasonable. And but I really think it's a decision. So it's I think should be a shared responsibility, and I think it's a decision. I also can say, like, from our experience, it makes parenting so much easier, because in my experience, my husband is also like capable to bring both kids to bed, like sometimes even better than I do. So I ask him, how did you do that? Because I have seen sometimes my experience a loss in this case. Yeah, that's your role, but
I bring him to bed.
Yeah, great. But I've experienced it in my surrounding. That's often like, we need the mom. Only the mom can do it. So, but if you share this responsibility and you have also like kind of this deep relationship to your child, that's why I always would recommend every man to go on parental leave, like experience that, and also try to choose a phase where you do it on your own, because then if you forget the sun cream, it's your fail when the kid is burned, and you have to experience that to know what do I have to pack in my backpack. And then you can't ask your wife, like, do we have everything? Because she has everything, because she's thinking about everything, because she is all the mental load. You can share that. And it's also about to let it go. I said once, like when we skipped roles, okay, you are responsible for packing the backpack. And if we don't have diapers, we don't have. What did we do? We have to buy diapers. But on the next day, my husband had everything. And now he's even better prepared than I am. So what I want to tell you is, like, it's not about gender to be a parent. It should not be about gender. It's just about sharing responsibilities. And I wish that this would be our future.
Yes. Oh, thank you. That means, yeah, applause. Yeah, and what we see is like the normal way is the mother takes the 1 year, the 12 months, and then 1 month the father. But within this 1 month, they're on vacation, and the father does not have the opportunity to take care of the children or the child all by himself because they're on vacation and there's still 2 of them. So change that perspective, take care of your child on your own for several months, and it benefits, because I see it now also in my family model that there are phases where I'm number one, there are phases where my husband's number one, and I love that. And I love that the mental load is shared. Okay, time is running. One last question to all of you guys. So if you had like a magic parenting patch update for the games industry, what bug would you fix first, Sena?
You are asking hard questions. Yeah, there are a lot of things to be fixed, but I would like to maybe talk about coming back to work. Like mentioned, it's often woman or who gives birth to take the longer time, and for all this time you are away from work, and when the time runs out, you are expected to come back to work, and maybe you are expected to come back at 100%. I think this is very unrealistic. Over that year, your mind kind of shifts. You are a different person with different priorities, and you have been taking care of a little one for the last 12 months or maybe more. When you are back at work, you often have a lot of brain fog. You are away from your previous self. So I think this should be recognized and maybe create better support around this. It is great that some companies offer part-time work when you are coming back from maternity leave. This is helping for sure. But yeah, besides this, I think flexibility and understanding and support for people coming back from maternal leave would be one of those issues, I would say.
How about you, Elisabeth? I know you already mentioned like it's on a higher level, but would that be the bug that you would fix?
I mean, I think we have to still fix a lot of bugs, but I think it begins with like thinking the parental perspective or having the parental perspective also in mind when it comes to building up working perspectives. And I think, I mean, even I think now differently about some things. I mean, I now have both perspectives, how it is to have both roles. And that encouraged me to rethink some structures, like I mentioned before, like this no meetings after 4 rule and so on. But my hack would actually be like for the games industry parents to stay agile. Like we do that in the games industry all the time. Like to have agile project, and parenting is all about like flexibility and see what's on the next day, but also really try to build up a strong network behind you that kind of encourages you to do all that, to manage all that.
How about you, Miles?
I feel like I'm a terrible person to ask this because I have admittedly very, very little, basically zero experience with the German games industry as a whole because I've worked all my life internationally. And I've been in a very fortunate position to work in a company that I would say takes parenting very, very seriously. Even down to the level of, postpartum depression and depression in general. We have like an internal mental health support system and offerings that you can take, right? So it's pretty progressive in that way. And I just wish that, and I hope that more companies are like that, right? That certainly paints my picture of how I personally feel about the games industry. I feel like this is something I would not see in more, let's say, conventional businesses, industries around, right? The more corporate environments. And I would hope that this finds more and more way into that space.
Yeah. Thank you guys for being so open, for sharing your personal stories. And remember, it's all just a phase. It's all just a phase. Thank you. Do we have questions? Yes, in the back. Mike is coming.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So statistically speaking, women are penalized for becoming mothers. I think over your lifetime, it's about 10% less income per child or something ridiculous, while men are actually earn more. And I was just wondering if you felt that your careers were personally affected, and if so, how?
I mean, in my case, like I split it really with my husband. So I think if the break between the parental leave and going back to work is not too long, that's maybe then it's actually it's no difference. But if you have like 2 years break and then you can't go, you have no chance to go further step in this 2 years while your husband gets a new position and earns more money and so on. So in my surrounding, my experience is often that the trap is that the responsibilities of parental leaves only lie by the women, so they can't go any further steps. And so my tip for future moms would be try to make the major steps in your career before you get children, before you have children. I mean, that sounds a little bit hard, tough, I know, but it makes a lot of things easier.
For me personally, I think I took around 15 months off for each kid. So when you do the math, definitely you are at a disadvantaged position. But at the same time, I think your contribution to the family life is, you can't value this enough. But coming to your question, career unfortunately takes a hit when you compare it with your male spouse who is taking much less time to be away. And there are extended effects, like I mentioned before, regarding staying away from work for such a long time and then coming back and experiencing all of those additional difficulties. So it is a real thing.
Yeah. And also for me as a freelancer, to be honest, I was away for 10 months. And if you have multiple clients, you kind of, and then you are off somehow, you kind of start from the beginning again. So what that changed it for me. So I had to start over again, even though I was 10 years in already in the games industry, but then after 6 months or 8 months telling them, hey, I'm still here, you can still book me, I'm still available even if I work until 10, because there's also another part who can take care. My experience was just that clients thought, oh, now that she's a mother, she has to be home at 2, right? So we cannot book her. It's something that I wish could change also. Yeah.
It's actually just a comment. In 2001 on Iceland, they made the parental leave completely equal, like what we are talking about here as well on the panel. And that's also the country in Europe with the lowest gender pay gap. And I think, like, there's of course things you can do and we can talk about. Like, I didn't, for example, take any parental leave with my 3 children. Also pretty tough, but then I didn't take a pay cut either, right? But so everything comes from people's different perspectives and lives, but it's always like the construction of our society. And I think it was very brave at that time that Iceland took that decision, where the rest of Europe just thought like this is going to even out itself by capitalism and everything, and then like market will stabilize and it's going to be fine. And now we see in Europe that we actually have this demand that some of the maternity leave has to be shared between parents. And I think that's going to be the first stepping stone of this being better in the futures. Then I think it's also very important to mention pension in this situation. So it's a bit different from each country how it works, but usually pension is something you save up from your salary if you're working a corporate life and not like freelance like some of us. And so it's not only about that, hey, it's okay because my partner's gonna cover for our rent and our utilities and our food while I'm on leave and not making as much money. It's also your savings. And in the long run of your life, like then maybe if you get divorced 10 years later, you're not gonna see those money back. So it's also being smart about how pension is, how you are, like how much of the house and everything else you own. And sometimes in many countries, marriage is actually not enough to equal out the income and the savings. So if you're taking care of a family and he's building up a business, you are still contributing to him being able to do that, or your partner being able to do that. So it's very important that you actually go the extra length and set up these financial structures. And like my partner and I, we have a contract. Not a marriage, but like a contract on how everything needs to be divided because we are both equally contributing.
Nice, thank you for sharing this. All right, thank you again. This is your applause.